Hi, everybody. I'm Hub Arkush along with Kevin Fishbain and Arthur Arkush reporting for ProFootballWeekly.com. And the deadline on franchise tags has passed. Now, contrary to what some fans think, franchise tags are not as popular as you might expect. In the early days, you might see double-digit tags, certainly right after or up to the 2011 collective bargaining agreement. I believe there was 19 players tagged in 2012. Each of the last two seasons, 2014, 2015, you had 6 tags. That number went up a little bit this year, 9 players total tagged. And Kevin, I believe a big part of that is the unexpected $12 million increase in the salary cap for this season.
Yeah, the teams don't feel as necessary to go get a guy down to a long-term deal. They feel comfortable signing that one-year franchise tender, and I think as we go through some of these players, they're pretty obvious players that those teams are going to want to keep for the long term. So this is just kind of a bargaining chip. It's just a holdover to hold that guy in place as they continue to negotiate until July.
Arthur, there is nothing shocking about some of these tags. I thought that Muhammad Wilkerson was the best free agent available, Von Miller second, Josh Norman third. You've got the same three. You've just got Miller ahead of Wilkerson. You knew all three of these guys were going to get tagged.
Yeah, you could throw probably Eric Berry in that conversation as well. These teams just can ill afford to lose these guys, and they're, it's kind of a step to keep working towards a long-term deal. Certainly Denver is working on that with Von Miller. So you want to talk about a couple of the bigger surprises. You could argue Trumaine Johnson over Janoris Jenkins is a surprise. That would be the big one. Olivier Vernon getting the transition tag. It sounds like the Dolphins are preparing to lose him because all another team has to do is kind of up their offer, and he'll be gone.
You look at some of this guys, Alshon Jeffrey had to be tagged in large part because of the weakness in the wide receiver crop. There was nowhere else to go there. Kevin, I guess the one that surprised me the most, it's become very popular for NFL teams to use their tags on their place kickers. They get them inexpensively. They lock up the really good ones. But with Kelechi Osemele there as a free agent, I really thought that he would be the guy to get the tag. That didn't happen in Baltimore.
No, it went to Justin Tucker, who we've seen how clutch Justin Tucker's been in his career. He's a very good kicker, and as you mentioned, it is a pretty nice bargain to get that kicker if he's that good at that franchise tag. But you're right there. The Ravens, they decided to do that, and that's what happens with these teams. Look at the Broncos. They choose Von Miller. That means that Trevathan and Malik Jackson and Brock Osweiler get to free agency. The Rams, they pick Trumaine Johnson. Janoris Jenkins gets to free agency. You only got one tag to use, and that's the way they decide to use it, and it shows you where their GMs kind of rank guys in terms of priority.
Very interesting what happened in Washington, Arthur. You wonder with Scott McCloughan, is this team finally being run right in the front office? They did with Kirk Cousins what many thought the Bears should have done with Jay Cutler a few years ago. The Bears chose not to tag Cutler, made him the highest paid quarterback in the league at the time, and then they really suffered for that in the years following. Now it looks like maybe it wasn't such a bad deal. Washington saying, okay, Cousins had a really nice year. Let's try it again for a year. We've got an option at the end if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, some similarities for sure, but also some differences. Kirk Cousins only a one-year starter, obviously, so I think Scott McCloughan did the only thing he could. He needs to see Cousins, I think what a former fourth-rounder, prove he can do it for another 16 games, see how this offense continues to evolve. Obviously, Kirk Cousins, as productive as he was down the stretch last year, no team is giving up 2 first-round picks, even with the lack of quarterback play in the NFL.
Kevin, arguably the biggest surprise, you wonder if Trumaine Johnson, the cornerback from the Rams, is really a franchise-type player. They couldn't lose both him and Janoris Jenkins. He was the obvious choice to me over Jenkins because I'm not so sure he wouldn't be an all-pro safety in addition to a Pro Bowl cornerback.
Johnson had a really good year. He's got better size than Jenkins, and he has probably better question marks off the field. Though Jenkins has been, from what we can tell, the perfect citizen for them moving forward. But you're right, the Rams, and they have a lot of free agents. We just, they cut those 3 high-profile guys, Chris Long, James Laurinaitis, and Jared Cook. So a lot of things going on with that team and that salary cap, but they had to use it on somebody because they couldn't afford to lose both.
All right, folks, maybe the happiest guys in the NFL right now. We talked about Osemele from Baltimore, Malik Jackson from Denver. You talk about maybe even a Matt Forte of the Bears. The price tag just went up because the top 9 free agents are off the board. For all the best coverage available anywhere of the free agency signing period, which begins on March 9th, stay right where you're at 24/7 with ProFootballWeekly.com.